Last year, we interviewed businesses at the Northeast Snow Expo. We wanted to know how climate change is impacting the snow industry.
Yeah, so I'm Adam Vindigni, one of the owners of Powe Snowboards. So we're a sustainable snowboard company making our boards out of all bamboo and hemp and volcanic basalt. So we're trying to get rid of traditional carbon fibers and urethanes and really use natural materials that last longer and are, just a little bit more responsive. We love our recreational areas, and living in Vermont in such a small, close-knit area, a lot of the people that ride those mountains that live up there also hike in those mountains in the summer. They go fishing up there, they camp up there. So for us, it's the tourists and everyone in the snow, they don't see all the trash that builds up. It all gets buried. It doesn't look that bad, but in the summer when you go up there and all that stuff melts, you can see the serious problems that just even leaving trash on the mountain has. So
we want to push just beyond manufacturing. One way we do that is with the Powe Mountain Project, and that's basically just a day where we get a bunch of volunteers to go to the hill. We put them in groups of 3, 4, 5, and we tell them to go pick up trash off the mountain.
We give the resort detailed information about what we found, where we found it, how to mitigate those problems.
So they can see, where is this coming from and how we can mitigate those problems for the future. People are seeing that, this weather's changing and the mountains might not be the same the next 5, 10, 15 years.
You can just see it, think about the last 3 winters in general, just the difference in snow and difference in depths and, temperatures even have all been crazy.
This is something that's inevitable. It's something we're gonna have to deal with, so we wanna get on the ground, rolling right now and be an active part of that movement and saying that this is happening. We need to recognize it as a community, and we need to do something about it.
I think it's getting very obvious that things aren't going to be as consistent as they've always been, and I think climate change is a huge part of it.
At current rates, by 2100, only 4 of 14 major ski resorts in the Northeast will be profitable.
So I'm Andrew Beckler. I'm with Grass Sticks Bamboo Ski Poles. We make these bamboo ski poles out of Calcutta bamboo. It comes out of India. It's a high performance but quality and sustainable product at the same time. So every winter, those best memories come from those awesome giant powder days where the powder's just up to your waist and you're out there with your friends all day long, and it's really one of the better days you've had of your life. So those are the days we live for. The ski industry in general hasn't really seen any growth over the past 5 or 6 years. With the concern of global warming as well, it is happening. We are seeing winters getting shorter. We're seeing less snowfall, more rainstorms. Over the next 30 years, it could be a big impact on the industry, and it's absolutely something we're all thinking about. We came with the paddleboard paddle, so when 30 years down the road, skiing is not much of a thing anymore, which is kind of possible at this point. We need to have other options. So we've teamed up with Protect Our Winters, Powe, a couple times, and they do some great action, not only in public awareness, but action with the government, some lobbying, things like that to try to promote climate change awareness. So we've teamed up with them to do a lot of different giveaways and donations and things like that. In the future, we hope to donate a portion of our proceeds to Powe and other nonprofits that have that big push in the government and things like that where it really counts. So.
Due to climate change, by 2050, the ski and snow industry will lose 30% of its revenue.
I'm Pete Nelson. I'm the Executive Director for the Friends of Tuckerman Ravine. Our mission is to preserve and protect the ecosystem of the eastern slopes of Mount Washington. Well, climate change, obviously, we're seeing some extreme storm events. Just recently, within the last couple of weeks, we had 7-inch rain with a huge flooding event. Trail erosion, when you see firsthand the effects of climate change or weather events, it's a very powerful impact. We try to promote snow science and show people the science behind what goes on in the mountain. It's basically a science laboratory for us. Come out if you want to see one of the treasured landscapes of New Hampshire and New England. Come up and see Tuckerman Ravine. Especially in the winter time. It's a shining diamond up there in the mountains. Mount Washington, home of the world's worst weather. Come up to the Mount Washington Observatory up on top and take a view of the world.
By mid-century, 9 former Winter Olympics sites may not be cold enough to host again. Lake Placid, a former Olympic site in New York's Adirondack Mountains, is also under threat.
I'm Emily Stanton, the marketing manager at Gore Mountain. Gore Mountain offers the most terrain in the state of New York. We're located in the beautiful Adirondacks. That's the largest state park in the United States. There's quite a diversity of terrain and views there. It's a pretty compelling place to visit. We have a high-speed gondola and a lot of things to do for families. I was one of those kids that grew up with the little cord connected to their parent and eventually learned how to put on their lift ticket. But I just remember being with my dad and learning the sport with him and how skiing is such an activity for the generations to enjoy together. There's not a lot of sports like that. You know, we've seen extremes with the weather. We've seen warm winters, and then they'll be followed by extreme cold snaps too. So, you know, while there have been some challenges with the climate, it's also led to more extreme weather patterns, which has been a challenge. Gore Mountain now has the largest solar array dedicated to a ski area in the United States. We have also increased our service of locally sourced foods, and we're leaders in recycling as well. We have been identified as an industry leader in fighting climate change. We even were awarded the Golden Eagle by the National Ski Areas Association and Ski Magazine for some of the projects we've been doing. Often during the summer months, when you might not have as much going on at your ski area, your solar array is producing actively for your region. So, and then come winter time, it comes time for you to need it with snowmaking. Not only are we using clean energy that we're producing, we're utilizing the most efficient guns to put the snow on the slopes. And hopefully for winters to come, that'll just help along Mother Nature's generous snowmaking efforts.